Good evening, afternoon, I don't know. I don't care. Good night. Today, in the second English video, I want to talk about a very serious conclusion. And this is my personal simulation theory. I call it the option markets simulation hypothesis. Oh, I hate this word. I will read it. I read my text because it's like a little bit complicated, and as you might already realize, my English is not so great. So, recent events sparked many questions about the state and stability of our politics, economies, and personal self. Fearing a world which is getting somewhat hostile towards our basic human instincts, many people encourage through self-neglecting and even accelerationist behavior the actions which tend to crush democracies, freedom, and radical shifts in the sphere of world politics. The reason for this bot-like behavior is taking into account all the political shifts of the last decade, which a high probability planned and well overlooked by forces on which I want to orientate my personal view on this world. My hypothesis, my not so much backed by science thesis, sober and supported by reason, is that our world is simulated by the option market and or its participants in the reality to predict the possibilities and relative effects of high volatility inducing events, to predict efficient option prices in this higher real world. In total understanding for any concerns towards this scientific yet to prove theory, I want to examine some of the reasons and examples which undermine it. But first, I have to clarify that the overall simulation theory is completely logical. It is because our own reality allows us, so only for themselves, simulated selves, not even real beings, to create images from computer power alone, which are real enough to be unable to seize any differences to the with us simulated world. It's an argument which is based on that we now have AI system which can create reality, real looking photos which we cannot distinguish between the real world. Combine this with virtual reality technique and you might also see where this is going, and if it is possible to simulate a world with VR equipment and make it as real as our world, it is very much reasonable to believe that we are already in a simulated world. And if we are simulations, likely to the type of consciousness simulation humans create, I cannot see any reason, I have no doubt, why a real world, our real world, is possible. It needs far less energy to create a simulation than to create a reality. Even if the type of reality we are derived from is holding highly different physical properties, for example, more common creation of energy or mass from nothing. Even then, even if the reality we are based from is kind of all of our physics doesn't hold on, so entropy doesn't exist, they have unlimited energy. Even then, using simulation-like technology, I say, because it has other physical properties, so it would not be called simulation. Simulation-like technology is far less dangerous, hazardous, than we really allow other beings to exist on the same level of material manifestation in this true reality. Now, to the main reasons that this hypothesis is the most profound theory about our never-ending struggle and all of this bullshit which is going on in the world. First and foremost, why this type of simulation? And my answer on this would be simple, because when simulating something, anything, it's only about reducing risk by assign value to certain periods, time-based events. Simply speaking, assigning a time value to something, a value of volatility of something over time. For example, why do we play games? The only reason we do it is because we weigh up a feeling. We weigh up a feeling that keeps us alive. Also by playing, we have a feeling, a good feeling, against the time which flows beyond our control. So we only play to assign a certain value to a certain amount of time when we play. We are like pricing options when we do anything. It's like all the same, everything is an option. The whole world is like a big call option market. So for my personal life, I think playing games is only a highly inefficient way of assigning value to a certain period of time, which only objective value in an economical sense is to avert self-annihilation. All simulations made by companies, states, scientists, for that matter, I think this is completely undiscussed, are also just a kind of valuing the price or premium for certain events more efficient. So what I meant to say here, I was going to say here is, like, we have all these politicians, we give them great powers, great funding. We have all the scientists, states, etc., companies. All of them, all these entities are only here to assign a certain risk premium to some kind of service or some kind of material good and so on. It's like always the same. They are only like emitting or call options, or buying these call options, and like when it is executed, delivering the certain amount, the certain good, or something like this. It's all an option, like I said. It becomes very clear why we live in this kind of simulation. So in this option market simulation, where like we are in a world which is going to be run by like a higher reality, which runs millions and billions of this kind of simulation, and always like simulates certain events which tends to like create high volatility, to assign a certain like value to options which are issued in this real world. Also they want to have a very good prediction, like a 100% perfect prediction, to assign a 100% perfect premium to call options in their reality. Like if they want to know how certain weather events tend to influence the price of the volatility, so the change of prices in like the wheat market or whatever they call it, then they like run this billions of simulations, which from my point of view, in one of which we are living right now, then they can assign a risk value, a risk premium, based on all these millions and billions of simulations, where they like looked how the prices or the demand and the demand of the good changed over time. by this high volatility event. And it becomes very clear why we live in this kind of simulation and not a game like or a science simulation. So like there are all kinds of simulations theories out there, and I want to argue for why the option market simulation hypothesis is the truest simulation theory which is out there right now. If we look at the development of our own world and the events that happened in it and which are happening right now. First, the main argument for such kind of a controlled simulation from the option market is the fact that many of the strongest entities within our system, like the so-called United States of America, the People's Republic of China, the Russian Federation, as well as the former Soviet Union, the German Reich, the Russian, and also the French Republic and United Kingdom. There are all also many examples from like the weaker, the less important entities in this world, but they are so insignificant that there's no reason at all for a simulator to use precious thought power to influence the decisions of their leaders. It is most likely that the leaders of these insignificant states are getting their decisions from some kind of randomness generator, I believe, or at least a complexity generator. Let's call it a complexity generator for framing some new words for exactly this theory. So like philosophers in 200 years can um, can write nice poems about it. So I will focus in my examination on the decisions of the stronger entities. So what I'm going to do here is I go through all the ridiculous anti-game theory decisions that all of these like entities, states, countries have made, and I want to argue based on their like irrational behavior that there's like a man in the sky, like the simulator, who induced their decisions, their irrational decisions, to like look what would happen if like some kind of market shift happened in their real world, because they have all these crazy people who run their world, so they simulate like very crazy people in our world, which cannot like use basic logic to drive them forward, who need like this random approach to things because they are unable to think clear thoughts, and probably also unable to be like to be purpose driven, to be like determined to do something, like they are like complexity generators is a good word for it. So let's look at the Soviet Union. Let's begin with the great brown Russian beer, who is sometimes drunk from too much vodka or other kinds of alcoholic drinks. The Soviet Union was a dumb system if you look at it from the outside. It worked under Stalin because like the pressure from the state was so great that all the people within the system worked their ass off to like survive. And when this like Stalin disappeared for some reason, medical reason, I think, uh, all the system broke under too much bureaucracy, too much rules there and there and there. It was like ridiculous. It was like dumb from the start. But in the moment when Stalin like died, it have the people who then like took the government, they knew, also I believe they knew that they need all this violence and all this pressure from the state onto their people to sustain a communist ideology, to sustain like a totalitarian state. But they freed the people. It was so dumb from a game theory perspective. They, it was a so ridiculous dumb situation for the people because they weren't free, they weren't like killed immediately for like small for like bad small talk about the state or so whatsoever. It doesn't matter. The point is, it was dumb. It was dumb from this leaders and it was completely irrational. And I believe it was like one of these first events where we like see clearly that there was like a simulator who wants to who looked at his own world, and he saw like very weak people coming to power, and he wanted to know how their like unmanly manly like feminine behavior influenced the price volatility in his world. So he simulated it in our simulation. A very another unlikely event are all the crimes which were committed by the German Reich against all the Jewish people. Horrendous crimes, if you ask me, from like even historical, even in at the moment where those crimes were committed, it was like crazy. It was not only crazy from like a humanitarian standpoint, it was also crazy from an economically, military, and from all kinds of standpoints. It was only a so dumb decision, so unwise, so short, so ridiculous dumb. I cannot believe what like the people who lived before me in this wonderful country did to the Jews. Uh, it doesn't make sense. It only makes sense when you have like a kind of simulation where like some guy wants to know which like what happens if like the greatest bots in his world, maybe people from the simulation simulated from the simulation over him, induced into his world like as human-like random generators tend to do the things normally never tend to choose the numbers the random generator never would have chosen by like chance or so. It's a little bit sad. Then, like the greatest failure of the last 66 million years, was directly caused by the so-called United States. At the time, independent country with his own revolutionary government, this entity had the chance to end it all. Like in the year 1945 to 1948, the so-called United States had the monopoly on this technology which is called nuclear weapons. And they had strategic bombers which could which enabled their military to strike directly into the heart of their like arch enemy, the Russian, Soviet. But they didn't do it. Why? Nobody knows. From a game theory standpoint, it is ridiculous. It's so dumb. It's like not even imaginable by a person within our system. Like when I like discovered this fact, this fact, I couldn't believe it. I like was like, no. The Soviets had a nuclear weapon. They had like nuclear weapon or like some kind of bio weapon which like would have killed millions, also billions of people, like all people on the earth. Why there's no reason whatsoever if like the so-called United States had these weapons that they did not deploy them by their own, like based on their own assessment of the situation. It doesn't make sense. It's like it was like the dumbest thing, dumbest, the shittiest, the craziest thing ever committed since the death of the dinosaurs. Allegedly, death of the dinosaurs. Probably we are like simulated by the dinosaurs, but it's like that's another theory of mine. So more about it later, not today. Mm, so my last question for to like end this video properly. I hate this language so much. German is so much cleaner, better. You can like your thoughts are more organized. You can like say what you mean. You don't have to like shit talk around the point. You can like you can like punch the people into their face. Like you don't have to like use all this dumb, ridiculous words. And I hate like that. I like use this word so much. It's like yeah. I don't mind. I don't care. So my last question: how many simulations are used to predict reality, and how insignificant are we? First of all, many simulations. If my theory, like the option market simulation hypothesis, is correct, then I believe there are like trillions, even billions of simulations out there. The reason for that is clear. We have like there are like in the reality above us, which is probably more complex than our reality. There are millions of decisions made every second or whatever their time unit is. So like they need a certain amount of simulations to calculate, predict the impact of every major decision in their reality. So they like need billions, trillions, more than trillions of simulations to only forecast a very short amount of time to yeah as a very short amount of to make good predictions for the option market in a short amount of for a short amount of time. Does it make any sense? I don't know. So yeah. Last but not least, maybe it's also like a kind of circle. So like we are created by the option market for the option market, but it's also another kind of theory. So I won't mention. I only mention it here. Another thing is which also very much backs up this theory is that like all the option prices in our world are completely perfect, which can only be true, can only be if we are part of of like a divine entity, which in my terms I call the option market. So probably entities within the option market simulated to assess certain premiums to some events in the real world to like make a efficient option market, like creatures creatures within the system to make exactly the system which created them better. It's like a divine simulator, an option market who like runs all these trillions of simulations, and for that reason our options are always are always perfectly priced, and everything you do or you think that you intend to do, even though like the option market tells you what to do, everything is priced in, and that's from the German Civilization Party. And howdy boys, howdy boys.